All this Miami talk about the transfer portal lately, but we got to remind people what they're doing at the high school level as well. The Canes are gunning for a third straight top 10 finish, but how high they actually finish will depend on how many five-star recruits Miami can close with. They currently don't have any committed, but just be patient. They're coming. I got On 3 Steve Wiltfong here. We're going to figure out how many five-stars the Canes will sign in 2025. But first, Miami fans, hit subscribe to the On 3 Recruits channel. We're doing this thing. We cover Miami recruiting better than anybody else. Go ahead, hit subscribe for me, please. All right, let's bring in the great Steve Wiltfong, and here's a look at some of the five stars that Miami's in contention for. We'll just start at the top. DJ Picket. Now, he has a family member already on the Miami Hurricanes roster, so that definitely gives them a little leg up on the competition. But boy, is there some competition here. How do you see this one shaking out?
Well, I think it's obvious that Miami's one of his favorite programs. He's taking his recruitment into the fall. I think that's to watch Miami play. And if the Hurricanes have the kind of season that they want to have this year, the kind of season that they've really invested in with 2 top 10 recruiting classes in a row, really crushing it in the transfer portal, I think it's going to lead to some major recruiting wins. I talked to one source around the program that said there will be a unicorn out there for Miami if the Hurricanes have a great year. DJ Picket would not be considered one of those. He's strongly considering Miami as it stands right now, alongside LSU and Oregon. Just had a great trip to Oregon. Is super close with Corey Raymond at LSU, but all the family ties at Miami, Josh. His uncle played there. His cousin plays there. He feels at home around the staff. The family's always liked Miami. And if they have a great season and continue to show that trajectory that this program can compete at a championship level, I think when it's all said and done, Miami could be very hard to beat for DJ Picket.
Yeah, hey, they're already, many consider maybe a favorite for DJ Pickett. Now, the unicorn, though, could be a guy like Jaden Walker, the number 1 linebacker in America, who's right in Georgia's backyard, being recruited heavily by the Dogs. But he's also been down to Coral Gables a couple times already.
Yeah, another prospect from the Peach State, too, Elijah Griffin, right? Those are guys that have been on campus at Miami, 2 5-stars from the state of Georgia. Jaden Walker, I think Miami's in the top 3 alongside favorite Georgia, and then South Carolina has done a nice job there. Elijah Griffin, we like the Bulldogs for him as well, but Georgia, Miami, Oregon, Colorado, Florida, Clemson, South Carolina. It's a young man that's talking to several other schools as well. Miami's gotten him to campus. They have the Hall of Fame coach on staff, and Jason Taylor, Coach Salavea. So many resources that have made this place very attractive to blue chip defensive linemen. The reason why Elijah Griffin's also looking at Miami.
All right, the next 2 prospects on this 5-star list are both committed to other programs. Solomon Thomas to FSU, and wide receiver Dallas Wilson, who's out of the Tampa Bay area, committed all the way out to Oregon. So if we look at these 2 5-stars that are committed elsewhere, who do you think Miami right now has a better shot at flipping?
Well, I think Florida State knows that they're going to have to battle to keep Solomon Thomas in the fold. Miami certainly putting pressure on that commitment. And Dallas Wilson, they're considered the biggest threat to flip him from Oregon as things stand now.
Yeah, and then we look at 5-star Jamie French, fresh off the, well, not so fresh anymore, but decommitted from Alabama in the wake of the Nick Saban retirement. He's back on the market, and this kind of has that Jeremiah Smith feel to it, doesn't it? Ohio State kind of the favorite, Miami working hard to keep him home. Now, French is from Jacksonville, not from Miami, but it still has that Jeremiah Smith feel to it.
Well, the difference, Josh, is that Jeremiah Smith committed to Ohio State early and publicly declared them his leader in the place that he was going to attend school. Certainly, he took some other visits, and Buckeyes sweated it out all the way up into the early signing period. But Jamie French, as much as we've liked Ohio State in this recruitment, particularly after his last visit, I'm told that the communication has really increased with Miami over the last month. So we'll see if things change with Ohio State. My RPM is still on the Buckeyes, but Miami, one of the programs that continues to remain heavily involved with him. And sounds like, again, the communication has gotten better in the last month. I was recently introduced to Rowback, and I couldn't be more excited. When I say impressed by the quality and comfort, I mean it. I literally can't take this stuff off since trying it on. For starters, the Rowback polos are my favorite polos. They not only have fun designs for every occasion and season, but they fit perfectly and easily transition throughout the day. Roback's everyday shorts are the perfect pairing as well. They are so comfortable and have an elastic waistband and great fabric that is made to stretch. Finally, the Roback hoodie is by far my favorite piece of clothing I own. It is so comfortable. I wear this to start my day, end my day, and everything in between. Easy to be active in it or just relax. The hoodie will fit whatever the day has in store. They have also released a ton of new products. Between their brand new Tailwind tees and bathing suits, Roback is ready for the warm weather. Roback has also been proudly leading the NIL charge, having signed partnerships with college stars Jalen Milroe, Cade Klubnik, among many others that are becoming the go-to brand for college athletes. Use the code STEVE on Roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers through the end of this week. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with the code STEVE.
All right, so right now Miami currently trending for another top 10 class, but they could push further than that, maybe top 5, maybe top 3. We talked about the 5 stars, and we also talked about some flips, but I want to target some more flips that Miami could possibly pull off this cycle, and we'll start where else if we're talking flips in the state of Illinois, the number 1 player in the state. Miami fans know what I'm talking about here. Defensive lineman this year, it's defensive lineman Nate Marshall, who's committed to Michigan, did that last week. But why, Steve? Why do you still have your eye on the Canes here?
Well, I think having my eye on the Canes is like a little drastic. I just know that Miami is not going to go away here. They're going to continue to keep in touch with Nate Marshall. We'll see if they can pull another Justin Scott here going up into the Chicagoland. They flipped Justin Scott from Ohio State last year, 5-star defensive lineman. Can they do the same and flip an elite defensive lineman from Michigan this cycle? They're certainly going to keep trying.
All right, the next flip target on our list is Hilton Stubs. Now, when he committed to USC, I think it shocked all of the in-state Florida programs who were recruiting Stubs. Does Miami still have a shot? Are they still in contact with Stubs despite his pledge to the Trojans?
Yeah, very much so. I've talked to Hilton Stubs a couple times. Shortly after he committed to USC, he was back on Miami's campus in early April, and he even said then the energy was high. Coach Cristobal's dedication stood out. He sees me and Zaquan Patterson teaming up as a game changer. They're impressed with him as a prospect, and he's was impressed with the intense practice that he was at. He likes the coaching staff, Coach Guidry, Coach Sheavis Jackson, Coach Jason Taylor, pushing everyone. He talked about Coach Cristobal and how serious he is recruiting him. And then this week, he said it was an honor to be recruited by Miami. Again, reiterated the coaches that he's close with there. He talked about how they've excelled at teaching the game. He thinks this is a place that could get the best out of him. Miami's very much still a major contender for Hilton Drake Stubs.
The next target we got to talk about on our flip list, or potential flip list, is linebacker Jaden Pat, who's committed to the Georgia Bulldogs, another linebacker in the Dogs' backyard that Miami is a contender for. Do you think that this is somebody that Canes fans need to pay attention to?
Well, he's keeping a lot of schools warm, and Miami's one of them. You know, Auburn, Alabama, some of the other schools that he continues to have dialogue. Mm-hmm. He still visits Georgia regularly and often, too. The Bulldogs want to keep him. But Miami is one of the schools that remains in the picture, and they'll continue to push for him as well.
All right, Miami fans, summer is coming. We know that's when the Canes start really picking it up on the trail. Comment section below, where do we think this class is going to finish? Top 10, top 5, top 3? Who's your biggest flip target? Let me know. Comment section below.